Part 196. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1951. Farewell to Chen Xuanyang and Zheng Jinrui, the group hurried back to the compound. Grandma Ye was waiting at their house. When she saw them, she said, "You are back, what's the matter?" I also went around the art troupe, and there were a few art soldiers who had performed abroad and permed their hair. Most of the art soldiers took out their performance clothes from more than 10 years ago and wore one skirt each. I don't care how they dress. If they dare to wear it, they must be in compliance with the regulations. So, you and Jiao Yang go there and ask Political Commissar Lu what the regulations are. My sister is an adult, so Feng Qingxia called her deal with. Feng Qingyun didn't change her clothes anymore. She just braided her curly hair into a big braid and took Li Jiaoyang with her. Political Commissar Lu also had a headache when encountering this kind of thing. He looked at Captain Li standing in front of him with his mouth pursed and his face serious. "Didn't I say it before? I will investigate it carefully. Without investigation, I have no right to speak. Why are you here again? How many trips have you made this day? Are you not doing any training, rehearsals, or condolences in the art troupe? I heard that Feng Qingyun is back and will definitely come to find you." Captain Li was also a leading actor in the art troupe when he was young. He was as beautiful as a flower. Now he is already quite old. There are deep lines carved on the corners of his mouth, and he is even more beautiful. Look old. Political Commissar Lu rubbed his brows. So what? You can come to me to complain, but others can't come to me. If it were an ordinary person, that would be fine, but that was Feng Qingyun. Although Feng Qingyun went abroad for several years and was not in the troupe, she was a key member of the art troupe before. Whether it was performances or singing and dancing, she was at the top level in the art troupe. She went abroad for further study. Political Commissar Lu wanted to keep her, not because she was Lu Jiang's sister-in-law, nor because she was the future daughter-in-law of Army Commander Rong, nor because she was a student of Guan Yufen, Yang Fenying, and Fang Ning, but because she, after studying abroad for such a long time, the vocal level must have improved greatly. How can such talents be allowed to be lost? Captain Li didn't think so. She looked down on Feng Qingyun's fairy-like appearance and said confidently, "I'm afraid that you will be corrupted by the capitalist style, so I came to take a look." "Old Li, what are you talking about?" Political Commissar Lu slammed the table in anger. He did not dare to bear such a charge. Captain Li pursed his lips and said nothing, his attitude not changing at all. Political Commissar Liu's hand hurt from clapping, so he quickly took it back and pretended to drink water from the enamel basin. He finally recovered. "Old Li, you have led members of the art troupe to perform abroad many times. In the past 6 months, there have been many people who have come to me to write letters of introduction and get their hair permed. Right? Let me ask you, is the way you dress Comrade Feng Qingyun considered outrageous abroad?" "It's not outrageous abroad." Captain Li told the truth. "There are many lesbians abroad who wear skirts and pants. The skirts and pants are as short as the thighs, and short sleeves cannot cover the navel. In that case, why do you say that Comrade Feng Qingyun does not meet the image of the army? It just doesn't fit the image of the army. Didn't you hear what people said? Red dress, big curly hair, lipstick, and weird jewelry. What does it look like? Once you perform on stage, will the military and civilians watch the show or the people?" Political Commissar Lu laughed angrily again. "Old Li, didn't you think carefully when you said this? Who in the art troupe goes on stage without wearing performance clothes? Can Comrade Feng Qingyun wear her red dress on stage? Don't coax her. I, Old Lu, have no idea. What do you mean by casual clothes? No one stipulates that art soldiers must wear military uniforms during non-work periods." Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1952. Political Commissar Liu's words aroused Captain Li's resistance. He held it in for a long time and then said, "You are using strong words to make sense. I think you are the one who speaks forcefully." Political Commissar Liu was not polite at all. More than 10 years ago, you, Mr. Li, didn't say you had never worn braggy, permed your hair, or put on lipstick. Now, what are you doing now? At that time, our country strives to integrate with international standards and constantly establishes diplomatic relations with foreign countries. Only then do you have the opportunity to perform abroad. Why are you still lagging behind than more than 10 years ago? The era of 8 model operas has passed, and the regulations of those 10 years have to be: how can you still support someone who has been overthrown? Why is hair perming allowed? Why are skirts allowed? Rather than the strict controls of the past decade? I just want to show my attitude, my political attitude. Political Commissar Liu was a bit bitter in his words. It's a pity that Captain Li doesn't understand and still stubbornly believes that Feng Qingyun should not continue to stay in the army and affect the good socialist soldiers. 10 years ago, wearing a skirt, perming your hair and wearing lipstick was allowed by the state. It is different from now. Why is it different? The state has explicit regulations. That's not true, but they all look at it one by one, and if more people follow it, it becomes a trend. Thinking of this, Captain Li had even more reasons. Aren't I afraid that Feng Qingyun will take the lead after returning to the art troupe, and others will learn one thing and another, and will all be infected with the bad habits of capitalism? Li Jiaoyang and Feng Qingyun just walked to the door and were about to knock on the door to make a report. When they heard Captain Li's sharp and high-pitched voice, Feng Qingyun sneered, knocked on the door, and said loudly, reporting to the leader, "I am Feng Qingyun. I heard that someone filed a lawsuit against me and wanted to expel me from the army. Let me ask what happened and whether I need to cooperate with the investigation." Political Commissar Liu's head was aching. Well, before he went to investigate in person, the person involved came to his door. It's strange, he didn't even give the order. How could she know? Since the information was not leaked from him, then it must be that Captain Li was not rigorous in her work. Perhaps she made her opinions known from the beginning to the end and did not even hide the purpose of the complaint from everyone, so it is not surprising that the Liu family got some information. It seemed that Captain Li was determined not to let Feng Qingyun return to the art troupe. "Come in and talk," Political Commissar Liu spoke directly. When he saw Li Jiaoyang accompanying Feng Qingyun, he was in a trance. He almost thought he had met Rong Yuan, the eldest son of Army Commander Rong. Fortunately, the two were very different. Big, it's not that I can't tell the difference. Looking at Feng Qingyun's appearance now, she will definitely attract everyone's attention when she takes the stage. Political Commissar Liu couldn't help but sigh in his heart. No wonder Captain Li couldn't tolerate her. Feng Qingyun was so beautiful, with snowy skin and beautiful appearance, and her movements were filled with a natural and outstanding temperament. At first glance, she was destined to eat this bowl of rice on the stage. Focus, appearance is the focus. Feng Qingyun didn't squint her eyes and didn't even look at Captain Li anyway. She hadn't returned to the art troupe yet. "Comrade Political Commissar, I just came back from abroad. I haven't adapted to the situation of our country for a while. I'm not dignified or simple enough. It's my fault that it's not dark enough, and I will correct it. However, the regiment leader forced me to straighten my hair and cut it short without any hesitation. I was not allowed to wear lipstick and wear skirts. I wanted to ask whether female soldiers in the art troupe must wear short hair. Military uniform. Oh, by the way, I'm not wearing any lipstick. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1953. Red lips and white teeth describe her, her sister, and her niece. In the past 10 years, the three of them have not treated themselves badly in terms of diet. They have sufficient nutrition, look extremely good, and are good in all aspects, which is naturally reflected in their appearance. Lips that are red and as bright as petals are a sign of sufficient qi and blood. Listening to Feng Qingyun's small mouth spit out a long string of words, just like the pearl agate falling on the plate, political commissar Liu's eyes flicked across Feng Qingyun's face, and finally landed on the table. Comrade Feng Qingyun, I haven't investigated this matter. I don't know the specific situation, so I can't answer your question. Political Commissar Liu's attitude was very gentle. Look, you said you just returned to China and returned to your original position. Regarding the position, it must be approved by our investigation. This is a rule, don't you think so? Feng Qingyun nodded slightly. I understand, so I prepared to write the application report and wait for review, but I didn't expect that some people just couldn't wait and came to you anxiously to complain. My sister found out and almost scolded me. I cried, saying that I had a great responsibility and did not take into account the national conditions in my dress, so others took advantage of me and labeled me as a capitalist. How pitiful, Comrade Political Commissar, I am from a poor peasant background, I can't do this. Because I came back from abroad and it's capitalism. Li Jiaoyang went on to say, Comrade Qingyun has participated in many international music competitions abroad and won awards. It is inevitable to attend some music industry activities. Naturally, she has to dress as the locals do. She directly transferred to the ship from Hong Kong to Shanghai, and she didn't do anything. She stopped and then rushed to the capital. She failed to make changes as requested by Commander Li. It was my fault for not reminding her. Li Jiaoyang directly took the responsibility on himself, with an extremely sincere expression. Political Commissar Liu pretended not to understand what he meant, but leaned forward and said excitedly, Comrade Feng Qingyun has won a music competition award abroad. Have you brought back any prizes, certificates, etc.? Although the country currently pays most attention to competitive sports, winning awards in music is also the face of the country. Feng Qingyun said a little embarrassedly, there is a lot of luggage, the boxes are full, and the medals and the like can't be packed in, because some of them are trophies, which are not small in size. I sent them by international mail, and they haven't arrived yet. Political Commissar Liu hurriedly said, don't forget to show it to me when you get there. This is an honor. It's not just a personal honor, but also a national honor. Within a few years of our country returning to the United Nations, our country's development in all aspects has surpassed foreign countries are lagging far behind, and we need to catch up and put national honor first. I think so too, so I rejected many invitations from foreign countries to stay and develop abroad. But today's experience gave me new ideas. If I can't go back to where I was due to personal reasons, I will consider going abroad. Potential for development. When Commander Li heard this, his face suddenly turned red with anger and he stared at Feng Qingyun. If a sharp gaze could turn into a real knife, Feng Qingyun would have been beaten by her. Political Commissar Liu and Captain Li had completely different reactions. He quickly stood up and said, Comrade Feng Qingyun, our country is in urgent need of talents. How can you serve a capitalist country after you return home after studying hard? Development, of course you want to develop in our country, and I'm going to send you to perform abroad after your review is completed and you return to the art troupe. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1954. After listening to Political Commissar Liu's words, Captain Li's face changed and he said angrily, Political Commissar, how can you give in to the bad habits of capitalism? Didn't you say censorship? Did you dare to make a promise after checking? She is staying abroad. Over the years, have you checked whether you were instigated by foreign countries or whether you came back with ulterior motives? Feng Qingyun strode forward, stretched out her hand and slapped her with a loud sound that frightened Political Commissar Lu. You falsely accused me of being a foreign spy who instigated rebellion. Even if I slap you, it will be light, Feng Qingyun sneered. Her beautiful face seemed to be covered with a layer of frost, and the chill was overwhelming. I, Feng Qingyun, have just returned to China. If you fail to comply with the regulations, I will accept criticism and punishment without hesitation. But you, Commander Li, Commander Lida, the leader of the cultural troop, you slander me casually. I ask the political commissar to give me justice. My sister is a military doctor, my brother-in-law is a soldier, and my future father-in-law and uncle are both soldiers. Which one is not a good person? Which one has not lived and died for the country? You first label me a capitalist. Now you are slandering me as a spy. I suspect that you have an ulterior mission and want to bring down all our soldiers. You're talking nonsense. You're spewing blood. Captain Li covered his beaten face, his eyes were red. She never expected that at such a young age, after becoming the head of the art troupe, she would be raped by a little art troupe below. Soldiers slapped in the face. It's not the face that hurts, it's the face that's hurt. If Feng Qingyun slaps her, how can she continue to manage the art troupe with dignity in the future? Feng Qingyun snorted, you also know the 4 words for talking nonsense. You also know the 4 words for spitting blood. It's not easy. I thought you didn't know that you were talking nonsense and spitting blood. Li Jiaoyang held her hand. A gentleman talks but never moves. Look at you, your hands are red. Doesn't it hurt? Although it hurts, I feel happy, my palms ached, and I believe Captain Li's face hurt even more. Seeing this scene, Political Commissar Lu felt a headache and shouted, shut up. He walked around the desk, walked up to Feng Qingyun, and scolded him, how can you have such a big temper at such a young age? Don't you have me for everything? Can I just accuse people unjustly? When you resume your duties, I will not give you anything you can't remember it. After saying that, without waiting for Feng Qingyun to react, he turned to Captain Li and said politely, Old Li, what do you want me to say? Is that what you said just now? When you said that, but it's just a matter of brains. Just take care of the work arrangements under the art troupe, and you have to overstep the control until the political review comes. That's my job. Didn't I say that I will investigate Comrade Feng Qingyun if he fails the political review? You won't let her resume her job, so what are you worried about? Besides, even if she resumes her job, she won't necessarily stay in the art troupe you manage. There are many people who want such outstanding talents. After each playing 800 pieces, Political Commissar Lu continued, go back and do what you have to do. Lao Li, go back to the station of the art troupe and do your job well. Feng Qingyun, please put in some effort. Your application materials and past materials abroad will be handed over to me tomorrow. What is right and what is wrong will be announced after investigation. It will get dark soon. I have something to do tomorrow and I won't be able to hand it in. A lot of metal materials are on the way. I said in my report how many awards I won and how many activities I participated in, but no one believed me without evidence. Then just wait until it's time to sort it out and give it to me, Political Commissar Lu said angrily. Yes, Comrade Political Commissar. Whether to update Chapter 2 or Chapter 4 next depends on everyone's monthly votes. Please vote at the beginning of the month. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1955. It was already 7 o'clock in the evening when Feng Qingyun and Li Jiaoyang returned to the Lu family. As soon as I entered the door, I saw Lu Zhang sitting on a single sofa and reading a newspaper. He was wearing a half-worn military uniform. He probably hadn't been on the battlefield for many years and was getting older. He was sharp and restrained, and he seemed to be calm and self-confident. Feng Qingxiu was sitting on the armrest of the sofa, putting a hand on his shoulder and reading the newspaper in his hand. Grandma Ya and the child were gone. Taking in this heartwarming scene, Feng Qingyun blinked in surprise. Brother-in-law is back. Yes, Lu Zhang nodded towards her and Li Jiaoyang, pointing to the double sofa next to him. You guys sit down and tell me and your sister exactly what happened to you at the political commissar of the art troupe. He heard his wife talk about it as soon as he got home, but he had more things to think about. Don't mention it, that Captain Li simply doesn't know what to say. Feng Qingyun pulled her boyfriend to sit down, picked up the teapot on the coffee table, poured the half-warm scented tea inside into the glass, drank the cup first, and then only then did he tell his sister and brother-in-law that he slapped Commander Li, including what political commissar Lu and Commander Li had said. After explaining in a jittery tone, Feng Qingyun's voice was still full of anger. I joined the army when I was 12 years old, and I stayed in the art troupe before going abroad. I have never seen this Captain Li. She appeared out of nowhere. She has so many opinions about me. She looks like she wants to eat me alive. Feng Qingxiu raised her eyebrows, but did not say that her sister did something wrong, but said, when you went to the art troupe, I asked someone to inquire about it, and I roughly understand why Captain Li hates you. What's the reason? Isn't it because I suffered from beautiful lesbians? That's why I hate beauties. Feng Qingyun, who claimed to be a beauty, didn't hear her sister's answer for a long time. She couldn't help but open her eyes wide and round like a big green bead in Feng Qingxiu's collection. Sister, did I say it right? Feng Qingxiu spread her hands. Captain Li was a member of the Capital Military Region Art Troupe in the early days, before the founding of the People's Republic of China. Compared to Captain Bai, Captain Li had a good life. He married a cotter with a bright future early and his work went smoothly. Soon, before Feng Qingyun joined the army, Captain Li was still working on the front line. He was wearing braji, permed with floral curls, lipstick, and high heels, very fashionable. Feng Qingyun said that she had never seen her before. That was because she had first joined the Border Defense Force and was later transferred to the Capital Military Region. By the time she arrived at the Capital Military Region, Captain Li had been replaced by a new man for a long time. The first person to replace her as a soloist was none other than Bai Shui. Captain Li's work was not going well, and her marriage was also in trouble. At the beginning of the revolution, her cotter husband divorced her, saying that she had ideological problems and kept clothes such as braggy and cheongsam. She was not bent on making trouble. During the revolution, she was transferred from the Capital Art Troupe and married a young and beautiful art soldier. A few years ago, Captain Bai was transferred to the Capital Orchestra, and she was promoted and demoted secretly. Someone thought of Captain Li and transferred her to be the leader of the art troupe. She has always been known for treating the artistic soldiers harshly. When Feng Qingyun heard this, she interrupted, hard treatment. Different treatment, right? She didn't say anything to the other art soldiers who had permed hair, wore skirts, and put on lipstick, but just stared at me who had just returned to China and hadn't officially resumed work. What is the difference between treatment and treatment? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1956. Who told you to look better and come back from abroad? The artistic soldier who replaced Captain Li to marry her ex-husband had the experience of studying in the Soviet Union and was known for his versatility. Captain Li said to Feng Qingyun more out of anger, the beautiful lesbian who has returned from studying abroad and is versatile is a thorn in her side. Feng Qingyun was speechless for a moment. What does character issues have to do with whether you are beautiful or not, or whether you are talented or not? It doesn't matter whether you have been abroad or not. Who is that literary soldier? Feng Qingxiu shook her head, She has long since become a housewife by making soup, and is not in the art troupe. Feng Qingyun sneered and said, I thought she was so selfless and took it as her own duty to maintain the image of the army. It turned out to be selfish. No wonder Political Commissar Lu didn't defend her in front of her and didn't say she had to let me cut my hair short. To put it bluntly, although my hair is permed and curly, and my skirt is a bit slimmer, it doesn't rise to the point of being immoral. It's fine if I change my skirt, or if I don't wear any jewelry, it's fine for so many years anyway. Come here, but let me cut the hair that I managed to grow short, probably to the point where it won't cover my ears. What's even more outrageous is that she also labeled me as a spy of a capitalist country. This is really too much. Li Jiayang, who was as gentle and elegant as he was, couldn't help but get angry. We came to the capital this time to get married, and we were preparing to file a marriage report and wait for the political review. If Captain Li does this, we have to postpone it until Political Commissar Lu finds out Yun Yun's innocence before we can pass the marriage report. Isn't this a delay? Lu Zhang waved his hand, don't be angry. I'll call you later to urge you. Xiaoun will definitely pass the political review. The main purpose is to investigate some of her experiences abroad. Just submit the materials and explain clearly. If Feng Qingyun failed the political examination, it would be impossible for him to join the army. Lu Tianjun almost couldn't become a soldier in the first place. After Feng Qingyun heard this, she immediately clasped her hands together and said, sorry for the trouble, brother-in-law. I will work overtime tonight to write the materials. When the things sent back from abroad arrive, I will submit them together. Lu Zhang nodded slightly, eat first. After dinner, you guys have a good rest. You have to go see Jia Yang's parents tomorrow. Feng Qingxiu shouted upstairs, and the children ran down, pulled out the table and set up the chairs, and their hands and feet were very quick. Mrs. Zhang and the orderly brought the prepared meals to the table. Feng Qingyun slept in the same room as her niece at night, while Li Jiayang was arranged in the room prepared for Zibao. The nights in September are no longer as hot as those in August, and it is very comfortable to sleep. The next morning, after breakfast, Feng Qingxiu took a look at her sister's appearance. Her curly hair was in braids, and she was wearing a moon-white dress. She was dignified and elegant. She felt very satisfied and urged them to go out quickly, don't keep the old man waiting. When Hulan saw her future daughter-in-law, she couldn't be more satisfied with her current appearance and temperament. She took her hand and sat together to talk. She praised her a few times and then said, young lesbians, don't dress like that, be modest, go back and let the sun take you shopping, buy 2 pieces of bright material to make a skirt, the white shirt and green skirt that are popular recently look very good to me. Feng Qingyun pursed her lips and smiled, that's the trend brought by my sister. I heard from Aunt Ye that my sister was the first to wear it. But don't mention bright materials. I wore a red skirt when I came back and almost didn't cause trouble. Event. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1957. Commander Rong and Hulan heard this and asked what was going on. Li Jiayang and Feng Qingyun had no intention of hiding it. Feng Qingxiu felt that instead of the 2 elders of the Rong family knowing about this matter from others, it would be better for Li Jiayang and Feng Qingyun to say hello to them in advance to prevent anyone from causing trouble, and to avoid causing trouble to them. I have an opinion about Feng Qingyun. After all, Feng Qingyun had made Li Jiayang wait for several years in order to go abroad, and now he was an older, unmarried young man. Listening to Li Jiayang's narration about yesterday's experience, Hulan said angrily, this Li Yunhai is very lenient. In this age, he still manages people's clothes. In the capital city this summer, there is no one wearing a skirt. She's a lesbian? Besides, she hasn't returned to the group yet. Skirts are no big deal. It's like she didn't wear a cheongsam when she was young. We're not afraid of anything. Didn't someone say you permed your hair? Tomorrow I will also go to Cillian to get my hair permed and become a fashionable old lady. Let's see who can agree. Commander Rong took a look at her gray hair and said, how old are you, and you are still following the fashion? You can ask a Yuan to take his wife to have her hair permed, and you will be spared. Hu Lan retorted, you old man, what's wrong with your age? I wasn't in the mood to dress up in the past few decades, but now that there's a happy event at home, I'm in the mood. And Hu, beauty is regardless of age. Even gray hair looks good when permed and curled. It looks particularly elegant and temperamental. There are many people abroad with white hair and blonde hair. Hu Lan beamed when she heard this. You are right, I will be a fashionable and elegant old lady so as not to embarrass you young people. You go back and tell your sister and brother-in-law tonight that we can make an appointment with the in-laws to meet together. Let's have a meal together, and then I'll ask your sister to get her hair permed. Feng Qingyun was brought up by her sister. She had no parents, and a brother or sister-in-law meant she had no parents. Naturally, the marriage had to be discussed between Commander Rong and his wife and Lu Zhang and his wife. Then you tell my sister when the time comes. I don't dare to make decisions for her. Feng Qingyun also knows her sister very well. She prefers long straight hair, which hasn't changed in more than 10 years. However, because she often braids her hair, when spread out, it looks like a perm. Speaking of Feng Qingxiu, Hu Lan was full of praise, your sister also loves beauty. I have known her for so many years. Every time I see her, she is clean and decent. She is much prettier than others. No wonder she can attract people with white shirts and green skirts. The trend. Feng Qingyun smiled happily. She liked others to praise her sister. What moved her even more was that her rather unusual dress seemed to be nothing in the eyes of Commander Rong and his wife. Hu Lan really has no grudge. Now she is just picking up things that were popular 10 or 20 years ago. She can accept swimsuits, not to mention a slim red skirt. Another important point is that this kind of dress shows one's political attitude and is a protest against the various repressions of that decade. This is the size of the pattern. Captain Li only felt that Feng Qingyun was making all kinds of publicity and was immoral. However, Political Commissar Lu and Army Commander Rong and his wife saw the changes of the times and political stance, and had a positive attitude towards Feng Qingyun's dress. After hearing her sister's story, Feng Qingxiu couldn't help but praise, Xiaoun, you are very lucky to have met Jiao Yang who is willing to tolerate you, and to have an open-minded mother-in-law like Comrade Hu Lan. Feng Qingyun said with a smile, then we will meet tomorrow. Sister, are you going to perm your hair with Aunt Hu? Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1958. Feng Qingxiu gave her sister a white look, turned around and went to prepare clothes for the meeting, ignoring her suggestion. I've said it before, she doesn't like her hair to be messed up. How much better would it be if it were black and long and straight? If it weren't for the time and work, she would definitely have long hair hanging over her shoulders now. Li Jiaoyang sent Feng Qingyun back and said goodbye. He just arrived in the capital yesterday and there were a lot of things to do. It was okay to stay for one night. If he continued to stay today, who would accompany his parents to meet the in-laws? Therefore, Li Jiaoyang made an agreement with Feng Qingyun on the way back. When sending him out, Feng Qingyun rarely showed a little bit of reluctance. Are you so reluctant to leave? It's okay, I'll see you later in the evening, Feng Qingxiu joked upon seeing this. Feng Qingyun stamped her feet, sister. Stop laughing at you, come and see if my clothes are suitable for you. Taking care of Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu's work, Commander Rong, Hu Lan, and Li Jiaoyang paid a visit in the evening of the agreed date. When it comes to proposing, the man's family must be more attentive and proactive when asking for the girl's family. Lu Zhang and Feng Qingxiu also arranged their work in advance and went home from get-off work at 5 o'clock. As soon as they changed into the prepared clothes, the other party arrived. Lu Zhang, Feng Qingxiu, and Feng Qingyun welcomed them in. Seeing the large and small bags carried by Li Jiaoyang, the guard, and the driver, Feng Qingxiu couldn't help but said, "It's enough for the two old comrades to come, take so many things what?" Hu Lan, who had short gray hair on her head, held her hand and said affectionately, "How can we be empty-handed when we formally come to visit and propose marriage? We just brought a lot of things. Just a few things to eat. You have raised flowers for so many years. Our family has taken a huge advantage by having such a versatile eldest daughter as our daughter-in-law. You can't say that. Jiaoyang became my sister-in-law, and we took advantage of it." Entering the living room while talking, Feng Qingxiu invited them to sit down. While asking Feng Qingyun to pour them water, she said, "My sister has lived abroad for a few years, and her temper has become wild. Fortunately, Jiaoyang is tolerant. If you cause trouble to your in-laws, the two old comrades will teach you how to teach them." Feng Qingyun stuck out her tongue after hearing this. The wrinkles at the corners of Rong Jun's eyes relaxed, and there was a smile on his face. "The child is very good. She is not a person who doesn't distinguish between right and wrong, so she won't cause us any trouble. She has gone abroad and has gained a lot of experience. We need to give her more guidance in the future, make progress together. This is what it should be. Revolutionary comrades should tolerate each other, make progress together, and never leave each other throughout their lives." Lu Zhang said, "What we want is for our children to have a safe and smooth life and a happy marriage. Everything else is secondary." The commander of the Rong army high-fived and echoed, "This is exactly what we said. This is our best blessing to them." Hu Lan continued, "Come on, let's discuss their wedding date and betrothal gift. We have already prepared the betrothal gift, not much, just to fulfill our wishes as parents. These are all secondary. The most important thing is to get their marriage report approved as soon as possible and set the wedding date." The Rong family has a good attitude. Feng Qingxiu doesn't care about the size of the betrothal gift, but she is a little worried that the wedding report will be released during Li Jiayang's holiday. It cannot be passed before it expires. "Don't worry about this," Commander Rong said directly. "I told Political Commissar Lu and asked him to speed up the review and not delay the wedding of the two children. If he couldn't even solve this little problem, he would be so sorry for the child." Chapter 10. I went to my husband's parents' house today to give him a New Year's gift. I only missed 100 words, and then I had dinner. Embarrassing. In addition, although I ask for votes, you are free to vote or not. I don't force it. People who follow me often know that I never ask for rewards or anything. I rarely update and I basically don't ask for votes. I think it is updated. Sorry. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1959. After dinner and some conversation, before leaving, Hu Lan actually asked Feng Qingxiu to have her hair permed. Feng Qingxiu smiled and said, "Let's wait until I take off this military uniform. I can't even think about it now. The army has strict management, including the military hospital. She can only wear skirts during non-work periods, let alone jewelry. Although the art troupe is also affiliated with the army, they are literary and artistic workers who are engaged in performance, so they can wear skirts and have their hair permed. However, if you look carefully, you will find that you have to wear the performance uniforms prescribed by the army when you go on stage, and you need to firmly follow the path of solemnity and simplicity." Just like Feng Qingyun's dress when she returned to China, it was really out of place. Because Feng Qingyun slapped Captain Li, Political Commissar Lu didn't want to let her return to the capital art troupe. He was worried that Captain Li would wear small shoes for her without him knowing. No matter what he does, Captain Li is the leader of the group and has great power. Therefore, within 3 or 4 days after the meeting between the two families, things that Feng Qingyun sent back from abroad began to arrive one after another. She took the award-winning materials, study materials, social materials from the past 2 years, etc. The application report was handed in together. After careful study, Political Commissar Lu and others approved her to return to the band, but she was immediately transferred to the Capital Orchestra. Indeed, as Political Commissar Lu said, after knowing that Feng Qingyun had a conflict with Captain Li after returning to China, several literary and artistic units were vying for her. Finally, considering that Feng Qingyun was majoring in vocal music, the Capital Orchestra came out on top. Once the work is completed, the review of the marriage report will be quick. Originally, Feng Qingyun passed the political examination very well, but now he has re-investigated and found that there is nothing unsatisfactory. Li Jiaoyang is also upright and impeccable. The process went very quickly, and he was approved within 2 days. The Rong family couple and the Lu Zhang couple immediately set their wedding date, September 18th. September 18th in the Gregorian calendar is the 6th day of August in the lunar calendar. Hulan secretly asks someone to calculate the day. It is particularly auspicious. It is also a Sunday. As long as there is no unexpected work, adults and children can basically rest. Just before the wedding, the Rong family entrusted an old leader to drive someone to deliver the betrothal gift to the Lu family. The borrowed army military truck almost blinded the family members of the Cotters who were watching the excitement when it was unloaded. First is a Phoenix brand sewing machine, then a Forever brand Con bicycle, which is a women's bicycle, relatively lightweight, then a 20-inch imported color TV, and a Rolex women's watch. 10 spring and summer sets, autumn and winter clothes and shoes were packed in boxes, along with 2,000 yuan, which was enough to show how much the two elders of the Rong family valued Feng Qingyun. Someone immediately said, the second oldest son of the Rong family got married and he was bleeding profusely. It can be seen that he really loves the second oldest brother. I was also present when the eldest son of the Rong family got married. How can I have these things? I didn't even get them together after 3 turns. 2 sets of clothes, a watch, and a flying pigeon. Grandma Ye immediately retorted, what do you know? The Rong family is just compensating for the second child. The person who spoke before immediately remembered that it took 20 or 30 years for Li Jiaoyang to be found after he was lost by the Rong family. They were in the same class. They all knew about the Rong family. After all, they had been looking for him for many years. The Rong family has prepared a lot of things. I wonder what kind of dowry the Lu family has prepared for the bride. Grandma Ye knew the details. After all, she and a few luckier women helped make the dowry betting. She said casually, Xiaoun is capable and her sister loves her. The dowry must not be less than the betrothal gift. Let's see if you don't believe me. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1960. Originally, when she prepared the dowry for Feng Qingyun, she spent all her own money. Not long after she came back, Feng Qingyun knew that her sister had no money, and the family income and expenditure bills were still posted on the doors of several children. She felt that her sister was really having a hard time. Fortunately, Feng Qingyun was really not short of money and spent it without restraint. When Fubao received the piano and the boys received sports equipment, Feng Qingxiu also received 50,000 Hong Kong dollars remitted from her sister from Hong Kong and exchanged them for more than 50,000 RMB. No wonder Feng Qingyun wants to develop abroad. It seems that she has really made a lot of money in the past 2 years. Although money is not everything, being without money is absolutely impossible. Since ancient times, poor and humble couples have always been sad, and this is a wise saying. Money can really corrode people's hearts. When Feng Qingxiu recorded her family's income and expenditure, She almost wanted to give up medicine and go into business after the reform and opening up. Now there is also an investment reason for collecting, which shows the charm of money. However, when Feng Qingxiu received the remittance, the dowry was almost ready. On the surface, the dowry consisted of 6 quilts, 10 sets of spring, summer, autumn, and winter clothing and shoes, an air conditioner, a washing machine, a complete set of new furniture and 2,000 yuan for packing. In private, she gave a pair of Qian-long period shoes. Lianzi vase, a jadeite ruyi given to Feng Qingxiu by Lu's father, 2 famous calligraphy and paintings and a box of jewelry, including jadeite, gold, Hessian jade, diamonds, and gems, etc. Feng Qingyun bought or received them as gifts over the years. There is also a box full of jewelry. Feng Qingyun learned vocal music, and musical instruments were indispensable. She bought a lot of them from abroad, including a piano, a violin, an accordion, a lyre, a guhan, as well as shangxiao flute and lian Feng Qingxiu. There are some Western musical instruments that cannot even be named, some are new and some are old, but the old ones are maintained almost as well as the new ones. In addition, some of the daily necessities such as pillows, pillow towels, wash basins, enamel tubs, and thermos bottles were bought by them themselves, and some were given by relatives and friends. Isn't it dizzying? It took 4 large military trucks to bring the dowry to the groom's family together with the betrothal gift. 4 large trucks lined up in a row, full of majesty. Commander Rong and Hulan built a separate first and second floor in the villa where they lived as a new house for their young couple. It could barely fit Feng Qingyun's dowry, so it naturally became a topic of conversation after dinner. Even with the development of the times, it is difficult to say that there will be no successors. It can be said that today's scene is absolutely unprecedented since the founding of the People's Republic of China. The new house is in the Rong family, so the wedding will naturally be held on the mountain. Feng Qingxiu had said before that it would be more respectable to hold the wedding in the auditorium of the military compound, but now she had to consider the man's address and various circumstances, so she finally changed it to the auditorium of Yuquanshan Sanatorium, which was also very respectable. Commander Rong specially invited his old leader, Comrade Luo Cheng, to officiate the marriage between Li Jiaoyang and Feng Qingyun. It was not popular to hold large weddings at this time. Many young couples received certificates and had a meal with relatives and friends to be considered married. However, the Rong family and the Lu family invited some relatives and friends who were relatively close to them in the capital, as well as elderly people from the nursing home who came to join in the fun. The leader set up a total of 4 tables in the cafeteria, one of which was occupied by the Lu family's 2 eldest and 5th children, Chen Swiniang and his wife, and Grandma Yet. As expected, Hulan had permed her hair, had grey curls on her head, wore a pair of glasses, and wore crisp and simple new clothes. She looked particularly intellectual and elegant, and was the most fashionable old lady on the scene.